So the first thing I'm going to say as we start this video off, my fellow agents, is that there is nothing new about the builds I'm about to show you. These are builds I've highlighted in the past, but since the start of Year 7 Season 1, some of you have reached out asking me what are my go-to builds as I'm jumping into the new content. Therefore, in today's video, I'm going to take a few moments and revisit two of my favorite striker builds to use in the game. Like many of you out there, because it's the weekend, I can finally jump into the game. I'm working on a bunch of different builds, and as always, if you have any requests, please let me know in the comment section. On that note, I'm going to leave you with the build breakdown and some gameplay footage, and the main reason I started off the video letting you know exactly what it is I never want to waste your time here. You know what I mean? A lot of you may have already seen these builds, but for those of you that are new and returning, hopefully you enjoy them. Thank you once again for everything, and let's cut right to the footage. Now, as always, we're going to jump right into the details, and if you happen to enjoy this, do me a favor and hit that like button. It truly helps the channel out. And if you want to stay up to speed on all things Division, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button as well. Now, starting with the specialization, you can see I'm using Gunner. The main reason for that is because I like to use the Banshee Pulse when I'm running with this version of the build. Now, always remember, you can use another specialization if you choose, but always make sure to have the proper weapons activated in that weapon skill tree. That way you're getting a 15% weapon damage bonus regardless of which one you're using. Now, my go-to weapon when it comes to the game right now is St. Elmo's Engine. In my opinion, it is definitely the best assault rifle in the game, and that is because of its talent, where shooting an enemy with this weapon will give you 1 stack, and at 100 stacks, the next magazine will be 100% filled with shock ammo. And you look at the mods, you got 15% crit hit damage, 30 extra rounds, 10% weapon handling, and 15% crit hit chance as well. That is what, in my opinion, separates this weapon from other ones out there. Now, if you don't have it in the meantime, you can use the Chameleon. You do have a few other options, and thankfully, this is in the general loot pool. I recommend hitting up Countdown or the Summit. Set your targeted loot accordingly. Now, moving on to the gear itself, you can see we're running 4 Striker, 1 Fenris, and the Catharsis Mask, which you can see on screen right now. Now, I know for a lot of players, this thing is a bit of a unicorn. You're having a hard time getting it to drop for you, but I promise it is definitely worth a grind because of its talent vicious cycle. Taking damage builds stacks to a cap of 30. Each stack grants 1.5% weapon damage. Taking damage at max stacks triggers a purge, removing all stacks and status effects, and then dropping a healing cloud, which restores 5% of max armor to all allies in the cloud. Next, we have the body armor. It's the 1 piece of Fenris that is going to give us an extra 10% assault rifle damage bonus, and you can see I am using the talent Obliterate. Critical hits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 20 times. And one thing you'll notice is on every single piece of gear, I'm stacking crit hit chance and crit hit damage everywhere I can. Now moving on to the holster, the knee pads, the gloves, and the backpack. They are the 4 pieces of the Striker gear set. We're running 4 so we get all of the gear set bonuses. 2 pieces 15% weapon handling, 3 pieces 15% rate of fire, 4 pieces Striker's Gamble. Weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times, but because we are wearing the Striker backpack, we do gain access to the talent Risk Management, which is going to increase the amount of weapon damage gained per stack of Striker's Gamble from 0.65% to 0.90%. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm running with one of my favorite combinations in the game, that is the Banshee Pulse and the Assault Drone. However, feel free to use anything else you want, totally up to you, my friends. When we look at the numbers, you can see I'm sitting at 49% crit hit chance, remember the max is 60, and 119.4 crit hit damage, and always remember those numbers are going to be dependent on not only the gear you have equipped, but having a Shade Watch of level 1000. Now at this point, I'd like to show you another build that happens to be one of my favorite ones to use in the game. What I did was the following. I switched from the Catharsis Mask to Coyote's Mask. This again is one of those must-have exotics in the game. It is in the general loot pool. Wish you the best of luck in regard to farming. This has the talent pack instincts, and that talent is going to give you a crit hit chance and or crit hit damage bonus based on the distance of the last enemy you hit. When you're running in a group, you can have all 3 of those running at the same time if other people are using it as well. And when we take a look at the numbers on this build, you can see once again I'm sitting at 49% crit hit chance, 143.4 crit hit damage, and remember, this is just a template. You know, the last build I showed you was at 1.5 million armor, this is at 1.1. That's why I recommend take your time, make a build your own. Hope this helped you out, my friends, and as always, questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know and I will do my best to get back to you as quick as I can. On that note, I'm going to start to wrap this up. However, as always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible continued support. I'm going to leave you with some gameplay footage and commentary. Please let me know of any other questions you have I did not address. Thank you once again for the privilege of your time, and as I mention at the end of every one of these, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.